The EU Commission has introduced a new cybersecurity package to boost the EU's cyber resilience. We spoke with Danny Van Roijen about what this shift means for the EU's cybersecurity posture.
Hi, my name is Danny Van Roijen. I'm a public affairs professional with more than 30 years of experience. So, of course, as with all legislation, the 2019 Cybersecurity Act prescribes periodic evaluation and review, which normally takes place every 5 years. But of course, the comprehensive revision is clearly a sign of the times. We have seen a further digitalization of our society and industrial sectors. We have seen major shifts also at the economic and geopolitical level, which brings new challenges. So we have, of course, the use and rise of artificial intelligence. We see more supply chain vulnerabilities. We have, of course, the geopolitical tensions, and from the threat landscape reports from NISA, it's also clear that we see more state-backed threats and hybrid attacks. And this also brings into question sovereignty issues. So overall, we are in a much different world than we were like 5 or 10 years ago in terms of cybersecurity threats. The cybersecurity threat landscape has changed, and vulnerabilities can do a lot more damage these days. So if we want to safeguard our economy, we need to increase our resilience. It is also clear that Europe has been dependent upon technology from other regions as well. There's the whole race on AI, quantum, and other new and emerging technologies. So it means that we have to catch up. Part of that process also in policy making. We have seen throughout different initiatives a more complete cyber approach, and trusted supply chains are a crucial element in that. We see also the same concerns around trusted supply chains in the Cyber Resilience Act, for instance. And then further to that, there are concerns about the data transfers that can take place to third countries. So there have been new requirements brought in through the Data Act and through the Open Data Directive. And it has been no secret, of course, that some of the discussions regarding the cybersecurity certification schemes, particular with regard to cloud services, has been stalled because of diverging views on the topic of sovereignty. This will also be further one of the issues that we will see in the EU Cloud and AI Development Act within this year. So overall, Europe is trying to catch up, and policy making is one of the instruments that we need to apply to make sure that we have a resilient economy. What we have seen in the past years is that there has been a great expansion when it comes to digital legislation, and in many of those pieces, there have been tasks allocated to NISA. So in that sense, their remit of operations and activities has grown significantly. At the same time, the financing didn't follow. So that was also always stressed in the annual report from NISA. They had issues with where debt was given to them and the resources they could put forward to that. So in the current proposal we see from the Commission, there's a refinement of the role and responsibilities of NISA, and also prioritization, which brings more clarity as well. Well, first of all, under the Cybersecurity Act, there was a rolling plan to look at different types of ICT services or technologies that might be appropriate to consider under cybersecurity certification framework. That was initially limited. We have seen the adoption of one scheme so far. The other one that was most advanced was the one on cloud services. However, due to political discussions, this process has stalled. Next to that, there were also discussions around cybersecurity certification in the area of AI, although it was felt at the time that it might be too premature to move in that area. In the meantime as well, we also have seen the AI Act taking some steps on trying to wheel in the technology. But overall, we can say that there's some political involvement in the process, separate from the technical discussions, which can drag on the process. And that once we get to the adoption, of course, there's still the practical implementation. And most importantly as well, and we can cover that later, is to what extent the companies are willing or needing the cybersecurity certification. Of course, companies are being pushed by all sides to take measures when it comes to cybersecurity, and that can be at the organizational level as well as at the product level. The question is, of course, whether they will need or require a cyber posture certification. And there's always a question of a must-have or nice-to-have. And typically, if it involves cost, people only do it if it's a must-have. They're also facing a multitude of cybersecurity requirements and demands through the market and through the customers. So mostly it will depend on the market and the demand. And there might be differences as well at a sectoral level. Of course, some sectors are more critical or even more advanced, more mature when it comes to cybersecurity. We have seen some other certifications as well that can be used or typical within the sector. So it depends. Well, clearly we have seen that from the geopolitical tensions, there's small skepticism towards the involvement of third country players. In that sense, the Cybersecurity Act introduces the possible designation of third countries as being a cybersecurity risk. And from that follows also the listing of high-risk suppliers. So this will bring in new requirements to phase out these high-risk suppliers. And we know from discussions around 5G that it's not an easy exercise. Usually it involves a lot of cost as well. And we currently see in the proposal that there are 36 months to phase out high-risk suppliers, which certainly in some of the industries might be a very short time frame as well. So it will be challenging. Well, what we see, of course, is there is a difference in competences at what the European Commission can do at the European level and what can be done at the national level. This has also fed into the discussions when we were discussing the NIS2 directive, because at the start of the discussions, there were still some indications, or at least certainly from industry perspective, we would be more open to regulation rather than a directive to make sure that we have more full harmonization across a single market. So it remains a very difficult balance. We see that the current Cybersecurity Act proposal does put into the spotlight the telecom sector. So definitely there will be further discussions in the trilogues on this particular issue. Well, it is clear that one set of harmonized rules for the European market is most beneficial for companies. But in terms of cost reduction, I guess it depends on the business model, the markets you're in, your cybersecurity maturity level, whether this will be impactful. So it will depend. It's always nice on paper, but in practice, it's not always that simple. Well, in my experience, most of the refit evaluations are tick box exercises. And also, when we discuss impact assessment, the costs that are put there are not always reflecting reality. Having said that, the new cybersecurity proposal does take some steps in the right direction, and we will always welcome further simplification and harmonization across member states. So if there's a more central role at the European level, that can only be beneficial to sort of sort out the divergences we currently see at the national level. Looking at the proposal, in my personal view, I think the targeted amendments to the NIS2 directive do make sense. Of course, when it comes to the political process, the question will be if it will not open up the file to more drastic changes. And although the NIS2 directive has been an important and necessary step forward, companies and sectors are still struggling with the requirements. So there might be maybe a pushback or push for simplification or even deregulation. So it's hard to predict. I think with what we see currently in the proposal, I think that should be pretty fine. I believe that the current proposals are necessary steps to increase our economic security, the cyber resilience and digital sovereignty. But then again, the world is moving at such a rapid pace that by the time the text is adopted and becomes applicable, the context once again may have changed. And if we look at the technologies, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, some say the race is lost. I'm of the opinion that if we manage to build a critical mass and focus on skills and capabilities, we might reach a tipping point. But for the moment, it's clearly that we're still highly dependent on technologies from different regions. So that we need to step up as Europe and make sure that there are the right initiatives to also build our own ecosystem. Well, if there's one thing, I think it's supply chain. We have seen this time and again, and also in the current proposal for the Cybersecurity Act, as well as what we have on the table for the Cyber Resilience Act. Supply chain is key. It's a critical factor. So it is important for companies to make sure they avoid technology that at some cost. They should make sure to reach out and engage with their supply chain, build the necessary understanding, and prepare for potential issues.